Imagine, little Sara and her parents are sent to a makeshift camp near Paris, and the next day, face the police's train tour. All men were sent to Auschwitz early, leaving daughters and children behind, transforming the camp into a tragic opera of weeping. Many mothers rose up against separation from their kids, but police crackdown muffled their cries. Sara was blasted from her mom by a water cannon. Heartless. Suddenly, Sara realized her chain with mom was gone, and her key had pulled the magic trick of disappearing too. She spun around to retrieve the key and thought, seriously? To her surprise, a guard caught her in the act. But that glint of determination in little Sara's eyes made Jack ultimately return the key. Hey, a glimmer of humanity, yay. Sara, holding the key, trembled on the ground, unaware that even with it she couldn't retrieve her brother time to solve all light bubbles. No matter time's passage, Sara can't open guilt's icy door wish for a password reset. After a scare and a health hiccup, Sara snoozed for a whole 3 days at the camp, while a slightly older Sammy played the role of her personal caretaker. But even then, Sara didn't forget about her brother. She told Sammy, we need to find a chance to escape this joyful camp. All adults had long been sent to Auschwitz, and nearby, wealthy do-gooders formed a quirky community. They'd occasionally showered the kids with food like it was their food angel visit, perfect timing for little Sara to get some fresh fruit. That's when Sara ran into Jack again, and she just dropped an apple at his feet. Spotting Sara, Jack casually stepped back and let it roll. On a day when the gods were slacking, Sara and Sammy stumbled upon a barbed wire fence. What an unexpected little adventure. With Jack's help, the two girls made a daring escape from the camp, but what Sara didn't expect was that no matter how hard she tried, her brother's candle of life. Back in 2009, Julia's husband's grandpa left years ago, leaving Grandma at the nursing home. Julia, being the devoted granddaughter, often swings by to visit Grandma, bringing along some magazines and yummy snacks. Spotting Julia's tired eyes, Grandma looked worried and advised her, "Don't overwork yourself, dear." Grandma was like, "Don't make the apartment a total disaster. It's been our cozy love nest for 60 years. Julia, feeling curious, asked about it, and Grandma explained. We moved in back in August 1942. Talk about nostalgia. The place was a bit rickety, with 3 of us all crammed into one room. Eventually, when 2 nearby rooms opened up, they finally had some breathing space. Talk about winner at the room game. Julia asked whether rooms became available, but Grandma shrugged and said, I honestly forgot. It's been ages. After leaving the nursing home, Julia headed to the apartment undergoing renovations, but she couldn't shake this unusual feeling. It felt like the apartment was hiding some major secrets. Wonder if there's any superordinary stuff lurking around. That evening, she made an appointment with her husband to have dinner together and revealed a major piece of news to him. After 6 years, Julie's finally pregnant with a second child. She nearly cried with joy. But recent work stress caught her off guard. Turns out, her husband didn't want this kid, so a little spat ensued. Bright and early the next day, Julia showed up at the archive center where she works, filled with names and photos from back in the day. What a historical treasure. As she gazed at the photos of those underage kids, a heavy heart sank within Julia. It felt like time had frozen. The staff said their job was to document these records, not to ignore the real-life stories behind them. The identity of my daughter is so haunting, it's hard to even think about. Just then, her father-in-law called, but she let it ring. No response. Times L. The staff informed her that her current apartment was precisely the densely populated Jewish residential area back in those days. What an irony. Julia knew her husband and his family had hearts of gold, but she still wanted to know the apartment's backstory. The curiosity was killing her. The rain softly tapped the car windows, a long sound, yet Julia's mind teemed with thoughts. With the photo of Sara and her younger brother clutched tightly in her hand, Julia couldn't help but let her tears flow uncontrollably. Apparently, her father-in-law noticed something was off with Julia and kept calling her. Even though Julia was feeling rather down and out, she still didn't answer the call. The following day, she found the prisoner list at the newspaper office. However, she failed to find the names of Sara and Mitchell anywhere, and a growing sense of unease began to take hold in her heart. She even started to believe that they might possibly still be alive. As her father-in-law kept calling, Julie became certain he knew something more, but didn't know how to ask. Little did she know, when she visited Grandma, her father-in-law had been waiting outside for ages. Edward found out from his son that Julia was investigating the apartment's history, wishing to keep the family out of it, but guess what? The father-in-law was that little boy from years ago. Talk about dramatic. He himself personally opened the door for Sara. It was truly a dramatic scene of real life, unbelievable. Thankfully, Mum was out and about, so she missed this human tragedy. What a save. You know how it goes. He knew he lost his family, and from that point on, father and son never mentioned Sara's name again. After all, the girl herself became part of the secret, and every time Edward mentioned Sara, his dad was always like, SHH. Stop thinking crazy thoughts. After Edward's father passed away, he stored some private files in a bank safe, and to this day, Edward hasn't dared to take a peek. He shared the safe's password with Julia, resulting in her retrieving a box full of documents from the bank. Talk about old mysteries. Inside the box was a folder labeled with Sara's name, stuffed with letters and pictures of Sara with her adoptive grandparents and their grandkids. After going through all the communications and documents, Julie dialed Edward. On hearing the news, he felt as if had been hit with a ton of bricks. All these years, her name had never been mentioned again. What a pity. But will she ever get to hear this news? Back then, after Sara was taken in by the elderly couple, Edward's father corresponded with them regularly, sending 100 francs each month. Things just kept. Over time, Sara became aware of Edward's family, and as the years flew by, she grew up, living life like a busy little worker bee. She hustled each day, only stopping when her arms screamed in agony. Talk about a trooper. Despite all that, Sara never complained. But slowly, she grew a bit mysterious and crazy, often daydreaming while staring at the horizon. Soon, Julia's article on the East Side was published. Despite her success, she still held a hopeful heart about whether Sara was still alive. By age, Sara should be Edward's age now. After searching, Julia got a text from Natalie. Natalie was the granddaughter of the elderly couple who adopted Sara. The moment Julia saw her, she felt like a kid in a candy store. It seemed the knot that troubled her might just untie, but little did Julia know, Natalie had no news about Sara at all. The reason? Sara left 50 years ago, leaving behind only a thank you note for her adoptive grandparents. She hoped they could forgive her sudden departure. It was truly a departure bound by fate. Though the elderly couple witnessed Sara's departure, they never tried to stop her. Sara was a free spirit until 1955 when they received a letter from Brooklyn. Oh girl, why the struggles? If only she would find her place and embrace a new life. So, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.